Halime Sultan, mother of Sultan Mustafa I. Halime Sultan, meaning the gentle one or the patient one, was a consort of Sultan Mehmed III and the mother of Sultan Mustafa I. The first woman to be Valida Sultan twice and the only to be Valida twice of a same son. She had at least 4 children with Mehmed, 2 sons Said Mahmud and Mustafa I, and 2 daughters Hadis Sultan and Sultan. She was de facto ruler as Valide Sultan from November 22, 1617 to 26 February 1618 and from May 19, 1622 to September 10, 1623, because her son was mentally unstable. Halime was also one of the prominent figures during the era known as the Sultanate of Women. Halime lived in the Ottoman Empire, a courtier during the reign of 6 sultans: Murad III, Mehmed III, Ahmed I, Mustafa I, Osman II, Murad IV. She was of Georgian Rabizink. Halime Sultan married Mehmed when he was still a prince and the governor of Saruhan Manisa Sanjak. After Sultan Mehmed III's death in 1595, she came to Istanbul along with Mehmed. In Istanbul, her son Mahmud was very popular with the Janissaries. However, Halime never Vashaseki Sultanand was not favored by her mother-in-law Safi Sultan, who favorited Hendon Hatun. She sent a message to a religious seer, for she was superstitious and anxious to know if her son would become the next sultan and how much longer her husband would reign. The seer responded, but the message was intercepted by Abd Rezekuga, the chief black eunuch of the imperial harem, and who later gave it to Mehmed and Safi instead of her. Safi incensed Mehmed, and he had Mahmud executed, who indeed knew nothing of his mother's action. Mahmud's followers, who were supposed to be involved in the matter, were thrown into the sea. However, she was sent to the Eski Old Palace located at the Beast Square by the end of June. Mehmed died just 6 months after Mahmud's death. On Friday, January 9, Safi Sultan, along with Zayd Mustafa, also sent to Theski Palace. When Mustafa ascended the throne in 1617, she became the Valide Sultanate, wielded a great power, while she, as a consort of Mehmed, had suffered the same obscurity as Shandon Sultanate. She exercised power more directly, acting as regent for her mentally incompetent son as his mental condition unimproved. No one had expected that Mustafa, who suffered from severe emotional Sem Sultan, the Haseki Sultan Tomed I, his favorite consort and legal wife, lost her position in Topkapi Palace, and she retired in the old palace after Mustafa I ascended. She had a potential ally in Kara David Pasha, but during Mustafa's first reign, which lasted for only 3 months, she was unable to exploit her relationship by appointing David Pasha vizier. Later, Mustafa was dethroned and his nephew Osman ascended the throne. Due to Mustafa's mental condition, Mustafa was sent back to the caves. She and her daughter were sent to Theski Palace. From her location in the old palace, she was a key figure in the deposition and assassination of Osman II, and showed that she was no stranger to the art of Dematpolitik. The basic and exceptional weakness from which Osman II suffered was the conspicuous absence of a female power basis in the harem. From 1620 until Osman's death, a governess was appointed as a stand-in Valida. She could not counterbalance the contriving of Halime Sultan in the old palace. Seeking a counterweight to Janissary influence, Osman II closed their coffee shops and started planning to create a new and more loyal army consisting of Anatolian Sekbans. The result was a palace uprising by the Janissaries, which was supported by Halime Sultan. Later, on May 18, 1622, Osman was again dethroned, and the rebels, meanwhile, broke into the imperial palace and freed Mustafa from his confinement and acclaimed him as their master. She once again returned from the old palace and became the Valide Sultan. After Osman's death, the Governor-General of Erzurum, Abkhazian Mehmed Pasha, decided to advance to Istanbul to settle the score with the murderers of Osman II. Kara David Pasha was chosen as a scapegoat and was executed in an attempt to modify the discontent and preempt the rebellions that were building up in the empire, but to no avail. Kara Ali Pasha petitioned her to agree to the deposition of her son in favor of 11-year-old Azaid Murad, the oldest surviving son of Ahmad I. She concurred, only pleading that her son's life be spared. Accordingly, Mustafa was dethroned and incarcerated again. She died in Theski Saray Old Palace after 1623. She is buried in the mausoleum of her son in Hagia Sophia Mosque, Istanbul. Thanks for watching. Subscribe my channel for more videos.